So first of all, I just introduce myself. My name is Ashish Rastogi, and I'm a corporate trainer. And my last qualification is MC and MTech, and I'm Oracle certified in database, and I have a more than 16-year experience in providing the training on this base. So I'm comfortable in both either Oracle or SQL Server and MySQL, no issue of that. But we are discussing about the SQL Server in this batch. Fine.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Okay, sir.
Okay, so let's start with the first beginning of the database. So I'm just going to share my slide first and then discuss about it. Guys, are you able to see my screen?
Yes, Ashish.
Yes, sir.
Okay, fine. So we are discussing about actually we are discussing about the RDMS, not DBMS, because the DBMS is just a concept. On the basis of that, we are working with the RDMS. So I will tell you what the difference between the DBMS and RDMS. I think Rutuja maybe know about it. Uh, can you Rutuja know about the difference between the DBMS and RDMS?
Not able to recall exactly.
Okay,
Mm,
no issue.
yeah.
So actually, I'm not going to describe the difference right now because
Mhm,
you people are very beginning. So actually, they are don't know about these terms. So first of all,
mhm.
we discuss about these terms, and then we discuss about the difference so that they can understand easily. Otherwise,
Yeah, sure.
maximum terms are very unknown, so they are not able to understand.
Mhm,
So
mm.
just leave this difference for the future. I will tell you more about it. So first of all, the main word is the database. Okay. So what is the database? Anyone can tell me about the what is database? Anyone wanted to say something?
Database where we can store the data in a large format, in a
Right.
large scale. Yeah.
Generally, a few people say like say collection of data, right? Database means the collection of data, right? You can say in other words, you can say database is a collection of interrelated data. Because why we are say interrelated data? Because in any company or any organization, no any data is free from. One data is related to another data, like table. Suppose that you're talking about tables. So, like suppose that one database have n number of tables are there. So these tables are related to each other. No any table is free from because database just work like a system, and in the system, no any part is free from. Every part is just connecting to each other. Like body is a system. Every organ of the body are related to each other. No any organ is free from. Same in the database. Every table in the database is connected to each other. So no any table is free from. So interconnected data. One more thing is very large. Why it is very large? Because it is like a server. So it is have a collection of the data which is coming from different sources, right? So that is called integrated collection of data. Integrated collection of data means, guys, data is coming from different sources. Maybe these sources are homogeneous or heterogeneous. What is mean by homogeneous and heterogeneous? Guys, suppose that your database is in a particular software like Oracle or SQL Server, but different outlets of the company using different application. Like few outlets are using Excel only, few outlets are using MS Access, few outlets use any other database. So if you are collecting data from different sources, maybe the format of the data may be different, but all the data to become in the single format. So this is process of integration, right? So database is a collection of interrelated data. It's very large and also integrated. Okay. So I hope you understand this line. Very large integrated collection of data. Okay.
Yes.
Is it clear?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah. So now in the database, if you wanted to create a database, then you have to define a model for that, right? Model means what? Before creating of database, you have to understand how many tables are there, how they're connected to each other. Just like a building. Suppose that if you are going to build a particular building, then you have to make a what? a blueprint, the architecture of that particular building. What should be the different portion of the buildings are how to be situated. So you have to make a blueprint for that, and on the basis of that, you have to build a building. Same for the database also. You have create a model. Model means you have to define that how many tables in my database, how they're connected to each other. In particular table, how many columns are there, what the constraints we have to apply. So all the structure of the database we have to architect you can say design the blueprint of that. That is called a model, and this is called entity relationship model. It is also called ER model. We discuss more about the ER model in detail in the future. But right now we just know about what is the entities, what is the relationship. So entities are like tables, or you can say is the object in which we can store a particular data. You can say, like suppose that a student. So a student is an entity, or you can say table which have data which is related to particular class of the student or university student, whatever type of students are there. We have to collect the data of student in that particular table that is called entity. Right, like courses also. Courses have a different courses also with there. We have to mention there. So student, course, or faculty, or any entity you can say by which we can insert a data on that. Second thing is relationship. Relationship means what? Ki how the entities are connected to each other. Means one table and second table how to connect it to each other. We have to define that, right? Because it is not necessary ki one table is connected to all the table in the database. It is not necessary. It depends on the situation. Ki which table is connected to which table you have to decide according to the situation. I will tell you about that how to create a ER diagram. Now next part is the DBMS. What is the DBMS? Database Management System. And database we already learned is a collection of data, interrelated data, integrated collection of data, and very large also with that. What is the management system? System means guys a software who manage the database. So actually we need a particular software who manage the database. Just like if you wanted to create a document, then you need a particular software like MS Word. If you wanted to create a table or something analysis, then you adopt Excel for that, and a PowerPoint for the presentation also. The same here, how to manage our database. We have a particular software that is management system, and it may be SQL Server, it may be Oracle, it may be DB2, it may be MyDB, right? MySQL. So there is a different software in the market who basically manage the database. So database management system is a software system designed to store, manage, and facilitate access to the database. So with the help of that database management system, you can access the data, you can manipulate the data also, you can store the data. So you can do these kind of tasks on the database with the help of that software. Okay. Any problem in that till now in this slide?
No, sir.
Okay.
No issues.
Yeah. So next is the uses of the database. Right now, you can say I think everything you know about already. ATM, different shopping sites are there. Up to telephone directory is not using right now, but also using that. So the use of the database is right now everywhere. There is no any field which is not touch the database part, right? And one more thing, database is you can say is the backbone of any particular organization or particular company. Without database, nothing to be happen in any organization. So database management system is what is the collection of interrelated data. We already discussed that. Second thing, set of programs to access the data. Set of program means is a software. The definition of the software is what? Set of programs. Guys, I hope you know that programming languages. So programming language is what? A set of instructions, right? So, so program is what? A set of instructions, and set of programs is equal to software. Generally, why we learn the programming language? Just because of develop a software. So how we can develop the software? First of all, we have to write the programs, and the collection of the programs become a software, just like a calculator. Calculator is a collection of the sum, plus, minus, division, multiply, and all. So actually, these programs are there, and the collection of these programs becomes a software like a calculator, right? So database management system is a software. That means it's a set of programs. Third thing, क्या DBMS contain information of a particular enterprise. Always remember, database is not for the common for all. It is always for a particular. Means whenever you design a database or create a database, always it is for a particular organization, not for the all general organization, right? Because every organization have their own parameter, their own policies. So we have to design the database accordingly or according to that enterprise. Next thing, DBMS provides an environment that is both convenient and efficient to use. So, what is the benefit of using the DBMS, database management system? Because it provides an environment where you can see your data easily, and it is very convenient to access the data or storing the data or manipulation also, and very efficient to provide your data as in your according structure as you want actually. So it is very convenient and very efficient. Next is the application of the databases. Right now, I think there is no any area where the database is not used. It can be banking, airlines, universities, sales, manufacturing, human resource, even medical also. So database touches all aspects of the our lives, right? I hope you agree, guys. There is no any organization or any field where the database is not used, right? And right now, in the digital marketing and digital payment, each and everything is to be recorded. And if it recorded, that means what? Where to be record all these things? Of course, database is there, so that uh, you can fetch the information key where to be perform any transaction and all, each and everything to be recorded in a database, so you can access the data whenever you want. Next thing, why we use our database management system? So first, the benefit of that key is the data independence and efficient access. Data independence means key, like suppose that if you are purchasing any particular product or booking any movie ticket or flight ticket or train ticket, then you are not depend on any other transaction. Your transaction is free from, and you can access your data or manipulate the data without any interruption. So of course, data independence, that is a one facility that you have. And one is the efficient access, means you can access data efficiently also. Next thing is reduce application development time. Application development time, guys, you know that the particular database, or you can say if you are wanted to develop a particular software, then software have three parts. One is the designing part, and one is the coding part, and one is the backend, or you can say database part, right? So database can be separately created. It is not depending key the first designing and coding part to be completed, and then you have to design the database. The database develop parallelly with your software. So of course it reduces the application development time also. Third thing, data integrity and security. One more important that key, data integrity should be maintained in our database. Means there is no loss of data, there is no fake data should be there. Data should be reliable, data should be correct in your database. So database management system ensure that your data to be correct and well formed, right? And also, no one can be steal your data easily. So the security system is very high in our database. If you are comparing with the file system, I will discuss in the next slide. Next thing, the different users may access the different data subset. Guys, I hope you realize that when you particular open a portal, and there is some student login are there is some faculty login, or different users have different logins are there. So if you log in as a student, then you can see your own data only, not the other data also. But if faculty login, then faculty can see the all student data, complete class data. So guys, database is very large, but no one can be seen data completely. Every user have a particular subset of the database, like you can say view of that. So every user have their a limited amount of data to be set in their login. So if student login, that student can see only the particular data of her and himself. And if faculty login, then faculty can see the other student data, right? This is, you can say, different users may access the different data set for the security point of view, because if all users access the all data, then that data is not so secure. Fine. Next is uniform data administration. Means there's a DBA team is there, database administration team is there, and that is for, form a rules and monitoring the database. It is for all user in equal way में कह सकते हो, and no one have to access the data without any permission. So the uniform data administration is there. There is no any partiality with any user key. This user can see the this particular data and this user can not see that. So the uniformity is there actually. Next and last is concurrent access. What is mean by concurrent access? Concurrent access means multiple user can be access data parallelly, simultaneously. Like suppose that I'm also book a train ticket, right, from my mobile, and you are also doing the same task for the same train and a particular seat. So in that situation, we both can be perform this task parallelly. There is no any interference to each other. Okay, so multiple person book the train ticket, same train ticket parallelly. So in the database also, multiple user can be access the data simultaneously, right? And also recovery from crashes, because maybe any mishappening is there, or your data is crashed in any region because of virus, because of fire, because of earthquake, any region, maybe your database is crashed. Then we have a recovery option so that we can recover data. That is backup and recovery option is there in the database, right? So I hope you understand why we are using the DBMS. What is the benefit of the using DBMS? Any doubt, guys, till now?
No, no, Ashish.
Okay. Ankita, Rutuja, is it fine?
No, sir. Yes.
Okay. So, if talking about the purpose of the database system, so actually before database we are using the file system, right? So, what is the difference between the file system and DBMS? So, actually, three questions may be arise. What is the benefit of the DBMS and database management system? What is the drawbacks in file system? Or you can say what is the difference between the file system and DBMS? Okay, so what is the difference of that? So first is drawback is data redundancy and inconsistency, right? So data redundancy and inconsistency, that means data redundancy means repetition of data. In the file system, if you repeat the data, then no one can be well, anyone can be repeat the data. Multiple user can insert data repeatedly. Means same data can you repeat many times, right? And inconsistency also, the loss of data may be occur in our file system. So in the file system, there is no any there is no any option to remove the redundancy and inconsistency file. But in the database management system, we can perform removal of redundancy and inconsistency, right? So data redundancy, actually, I hope if you know about the database, then in the database we have a primary key. Some constants are there. So basically, they are used to restrict user to not enter the repeated data. But in the file system, there is no any option to restrict user to enter the repeated data. Like suppose that you're talking about the notepad. So in the notepad, there is no any option to restrict the user to enter the repeated data. You can write repeated data many times in the notepad. No one can be restrict you. And same also, inconsistency means Like suppose that if multiple users are performing or accessing data, then maybe the data loss of problem can be occur in the file system. But in the DBMS, multiple user can be access the data without loss of the data. There is no any inconsistency occur in the database. So the first difference is data redundancy and inconsistency. So data redundancy and inconsistency can be removed in the DBMS, but in the file system we have suffered this problem. Next, in difficulty in accessing data also. Uh, if you have a notepad or you can say file system data, then it is very difficult to access a particular data because as you know that in notepad there's a multiple, maybe huge amount of data is there, and particular line, a particular data, if you are not to access, then you have to do some lot of effort for that. But in the database, we have a simple query. You just write the query and you got the data, simple. So in the file system, it is very difficult to access data as compared to the DBMS. Next is data isolation. Data isolation means like in the file format, there is a different file formats are there. It is very difficult to gather the data in a single format. But in the database management system, there is an integration operation is there so that we can access the different type of data in the single format easily. So data isolation can be performed in our DBMS as not in the file system. Next is integrity problem. Integrity problem means like suppose that if student marks are there, so of course they no any have any less than zero marks, right? Or suppose that if talking about the account balance should not be less than zero. So if you wanted to ask user to enter the data, then you have to make sure the user have to enter correct data. So for that, you have to maintain the integrity of the data, and you can perform in the DBMS, but not in the file system. So integrity problem is that in the file system that can be removed in the DBMS. Next part is the atomicity of updates. Atomicity of update means uh, in the database, the transaction either the complete to be happen or not to be complete happen. There is no any partial updates are there. Like suppose that if you're performing a transaction, like suppose that you just send 100 rupees to any your friend. So there's the two operations are there. One is the debit from your account, and one is the credit to another any your friend account. But suppose that if your amount debit from your account but not credit to the your friend account, then what will be the happen? क्या होता है next? What happened? Suppose that your money is deducted from your account but not credited to your friend account in any region without a some failure and all. Then
Payment
what
failed.
happened? Sorry?
The payment status will get failed.
Yes, you just get your money after a few days, right? Or few hours. It is rollback. Fine. So this is called atomicity. So in the file system, this atomicity operation cannot be happen, but in the database management system, it is performed. Next is concurrent access by multiple user is very important feature of the DBMS. If multiple user can be access the same data at the same time, but in the file system, it is not possible to multiple user access the same data at the same time. This is called concurrent access. Concurrent access means multiple user accessing data parallelly or simultaneously. And one more is security. The security in the file system is not, you know, not sufficient, you can say, but in the DBMS, it's very secure, so no unauthorized person can be access your steal data. So database management system offer solution of all above problem that we discussed. So data redundancy, inconsistency, difficulty in accessing data, data isolation, integrity problems, and atomicity of updates, concurrent access of multiple users, and the security. Any point that you are not able to understand, if Rutuja, Ankita,
No, sir.
okay,
That's good,
okay,
Ansh.
fine. Okay. So now, the next is the view of data in the DBMS. Right, guys, we have to discuss few theory part. Uh, maybe if you know about that, then you'll get bored. Like Rutuja, I hope you know about already these things. But problem is that if you don't understand about the few basics theory of the DBMS, then you are not able to much comfortable to implement the database and all, because you have to know about these things, especially those people who are just beginning in the database. So of course you have to know about the ABCD of the database first of all. So that's why these theory part we have to discuss first actually, right? If anyone have any doubt, any question, then you can ask me anytime. No issue about it. Okay, so view of data in the DBMS, that is first is abstraction is one of the main feature of the DBMS system. So actually in the database, when in the system, one is the data abstraction. Data abstraction means what, guys? What data you want to access. That is the data abstraction. Means the database is very huge, very large. But if you want to say particular data, that is called data abstraction. Okay, guys? So to understand the view of data, you must have the basic knowledge about the abstraction and symbols. So if we're talking about the abstraction, the abstraction means how much data you can access from a particular level of the DBMS. So there is the three levels of the DBMS is what? One is the physical level, one is the logical level, and one is the view level. Guys, we already discussed in the previous slide. The file system have these problem, and these problem, and DBMS solve these problems. But guys, actually, still our data to be stored in the file format in the database also. Okay, because I hope everyone know that in the memory in the hard disk, the data to be stored as a file. Everyone know that it is as true that as the system know the 01 language, machine language, right? So same is there.
Yes,
The
sir.
memory of hard disk always store a file, not data independently. So actually, the physical level is what is the lowest level of the data abstraction, and it's that how data to be actually stored in the database. So actually, you can say how the physically data to be stored in the memory or in the database memory, right? So it's a like a file format, you can say, that can be not accessible for any user. So data abstraction almost zero in that level. So you cannot access the data in this level because this level of data is to be stored, how to be stored in the database. That is backend part is there. It's not for any user to access the data. Got my point? So that is the physical level. Second thing is a logical level means what? So logical level means how what data to be stored means he you are making a particular structure of the data, like so you just imagine ki, you have a 10 number of tables are there and they are connected to each other. Every table have these number of columns, this particular data. So what structure in your mind that you have to implement in the database, that actually the logical level. So this level is an intermediate level of, you can say, and also it's just for imagine. It's not to be accessed by the particular user, right? So next is last is view level. View level is the highest level of the data abstraction. Actually, this level is where you can interact. So actually, this level you just interact with the database management system. Okay. So backend in the database also have some backend part. That's the physical level and logical level. And the view level is what where you interact with the database. Okay, so where you have write the queries and you just got the data and all, right? So this level is the highest level of data abstraction. Means actually you have to store data or interact with the data with this level. And also you can see this diagram. This is the physical level, right? The bottom level you can say is the middle level where you have imagine your data, how much data we have exactly. So physical level means how data to be stored in the memory or database. Logical level means what data to be stored. And third is viewed. So actually, I already told you guys, the different user have a different data set. If you read this line, I hope you remember. Just a minute. I'll tell you the line which I describe you. This one. Different users may access different data subsets, right? I hope you remember. So actually, guys, in this diagram, you can say like this view one. is for like suppose that is the student level, and this is the like view two is the faculty level. Maybe suppose that this n number of view three, view four, and so on. Maybe different users like manager and all. The different users are there, engineer, manager, and a clerk. Something different levels are there. So with different user have their different data set. Like this particular student can see only his or her data. Faculty can see the other student data. Manager can see the all faculty and student data. Right. So I hope you understand that different users have different views are there. Okay. I hope you, I think you have this kind of experience, guys, ki you just log in any portal and the student login are there, then admin login are. Have you देखा आप लोगों ने? If student login and admin login is there in any particular portal. Have you seen that? Anyone?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, what is mean by that? If you student login, that have a limited amount of data. If you have admin login, they have lots of access you have to perform your task, right? So these are what? These are the different views of the data. Actually. So one database have some, you even suppose that there is a different windows are there. Small, big, yeah, windows are there. So different user have different window. If a particular user have a small window, then you can see that small amount of data of the database. If any particular have a large window, then you can see that user can see the maximum data of that database. So different users have different views are there. So the physical level, logical level, and view level. There is the three levels of the data is there. And in the different levels, different schemas are there. Schema means what, guys? Schema means structure. So what is the structure of the data in physical level? That is called physical schema. And the structure of the data in logical level, that is called logical schema. And the structure of the data in view level, that is the view schema. So all these levels have their different data structure, that is called schema. So physical schema means the structure of the data, how to be stored in the physical level, that is the physical schema. And what is the structure of the data at village level, what data is stored, that is the logical schema. And the structure of the data that user can see in front of him or her, that is the view schema. And instance means what, guys? Instance means a data for a particular time period or particular instance. Instance means a particular time period or particular geographical area for a particular thing. Particular data is called instance, right? So this is a instance and scheme of the database management system. Now, guys, we are discussing about the structure of the data. The structure of the data means if you wanted to go for the creating a particular database, then you have to make a model. You have to make a blueprint for that. So actually, uh, right now we are using entity relationship model, but if you're talking about then the beginning of the database, it is not actually always not the entity relationship model. Firstly, we are using the first we all already we use network model, hierarchical model, relational model, object-oriented model, and entity relationship model. So, guys, actually, these are not a type of model. You can say it is the level of that. When database started, actually, guys, you know who is the father of the database management system? Who basically started this database? Who invented this one? Anyone know that? No one? Okay, Mr. E. F. Cord. Mr. E. F. Cord, who is the father of database management system. I'm using touchpad, so my writing might be correct. So Mr. E. F. Cord, which is the father of the DBMS, and he belonged from IBM. IBM is the first company who used the database management system. Always remember. Okay, IBM is the first company who used the DBMS, and EF Cord is belongs from that company. Either Federal Cord is the full name of that. Okay. So guys, actually when DBMS started, then first model to be used network model. There's some problem in the network model, so we improve ourselves and adopt the new model, that is hierarchical model. Again, there's some modification in that, and then we got the relational model, and then improve, then object-oriented model, and right now we are using the entity relationship model of that, right? So if you're talking about the network model, so you know what the problem in the network model? In the network model, each entity is connected to each entity of the database. Every entity, you can say. One entity is connected to all entity in the database, either necessary or not necessary. So this model is failed just because of that. A particular network traffic, or you can say, uh, is a very complex structure of the database is created. So that's why this model is not to be worked longly. So we just change this model with the hierarchical model. In the hierarchical model, guys, we have a one root element. This is called root element. This one is the root element is there, and all the child elements are there. This is the child element. One is the child element, right? And further have a further sub-child elements are there. So all the database elements, or you can say entities, make a tree diagram. But actually, in if you see the different organization, it is not compulsion. Every organization have a structure of the all entities in the tree format. It is not necessary. So in that situation, we are change this model because this model is not work in that situation. So in that situation, we are using the relational model. Guys, when the relational model is there, then the data come into the row and column format. Means tabular format जो है जब आया वो relational model में आया, right? So relational model basically define the data in tabular format, row and column format. Before relational model, the data is not in the row and column format. So guys, one more difference of the DB, one difference I'll tell you. See what the difference between the DBMS and RTBMS is, guys, that the DBMS have not data in tabular format, but relational database management system have a data in tabular format. So guys, right now we are using all the software using RDBMS, not DBMS. Okay, because if you're seeing all the database working on the tabular format data, is tabular, that row and column format, just like a Excel. So right now we are using only the relational model, uh, like in tabular format. Okay, so in this model, data is organized two-dimensional table called relations. Table को हम लोग relational भी बोलते हैं. If you're talking about the RTMS, the table is also called relation, right? And the connection between the relations is called relationship. Okay, the tables or relation are related to each other. So you can see that all tables are connected to each other. Okay, but the problem in that this is not a real life model. So in the real life model, guys, we have object. I hope you know that. Right now, you can see around you, everything is object, like your laptop is object, fan, chair, table, everything is object. So next model is defined, that is object oriented database model. I hope कि यहाँ पर जो programming language है that also have a object oriented model, right? Right now we are using OOPS concept in our programming also, object oriented programming. Have you heard about that object oriented programming?
Yes, sir.
Acha,
Yes.
how many of you know the basic programming skills? How many of you know about the programming language basics?
Ashish, I have done VBA, so I know about some programming.
Which programming language you learn?
I have learned VBA macros.
Acha, EVM macros. Okay. Ankita, what about you? Ankita,
Yes, sir.
you know about any programming skills you learn or any programming basics?
I heard programming language, but I don't know about anything.
Okay, okay. And Rutuja, what about you?
Yeah, SQL server only.
Sorry?
SQL server only. I worked on SQL only.
Okay, no any programming, right?
No, no.
Okay, okay. Okay. Pooja, still you are there or not? Pooja, are you there? Okay. Okay, fine, guys. There's some little bit programming language is required for this SQL part. So don't worry about this very basics part. We can discuss in parallel for this. So in object-oriented database model, there is a multimedia and hypertext database also introduced in that part. Means in object-oriented database model, we also can be store the multimedia like audio, video, image file, and hypertext also. Hypertext, guys, what is a hypertext? Anyone know about that hypertext?
Yeah, HTML.
Yes, HTML. So uh, that means if you click any particular text and you can go to another page, then that is a hyperlink is there. You can say somehow it's called hyperlink is there. So this is a hypertext also. So in this model, multimedia and hypertext database is also introduced in that part. So this model useful uh, for these kind of data. Now, the current scenario is an entity relationship model is used right now. So the latest model is used the entity relationship model. And who introduced this model? Mr. Peter Chain, who introduced model. Mr. Peter Chain defined this model, and this model have a entity and the relationship. Entity means you can say table, guys, and the relationship it means there's some connection between one table to another table form a relationship, right? So that is the entity relationship model, and you can see this model in such a way, like the all entities are represented in the rectangular box. You can say all entities are represented by the rectangular box, and the relationship is with the diamond box. You can say, and all attribute means the column of the table or attribute you can say are represented by oval sign, right? So this is the ER diagram. So these are two entities are there, but maybe your database have n number of entities are there. So multiple entities form a ER diagram with their relationship of that. Okay. Of course, we discuss about the SQL server in that part. So guys, I think we have only the 5 minute in the this lecture. So I wanted to okay how much your expectations with uh, this batch or this course. So you have 5 minutes. You can tell me what is expected from my side or this course side so that I can fulfill for your requirement. I think Rituja already told me what kind of things she required.
Yeah.
Sunan, you wanna say something or what the thing? Understand how all the things what we discussed in the coming slide or in the this slide we discussed.
Yes, the concepts are clear. So just wanted to understand, like, will it be basic plus advanced or only basic SQL course?
I think you have that course syllabus also. Have you got that content syllabus or not?
Yeah, yeah, I've received that.
Yeah. So actually, not only the basics part, we have some advanced part like PLSQL, procedures, functions, trigger, transaction. We have to learn each and everything. Don't worry about that. PLSQL is the advanced part, of course, not the basic part. Because
Yeah,
in
and
the
it
market,
will
I think,
be Microsoft SQL.
yeah, Microsoft SQL Server. These are
Thank you.
definitely. Okay.
Ashish,
Hello.
is there gonna be a project or something?
Yes, we first of all in the middle of the lectures we have some assignment for you guys, and also you people have to create a database, complete
Okay.
database for a particular organization.
Okay.
Yeah. Ankita, any doubt, any question, or anything you wanted to
Yes,
say?
sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Actually, I have one question. Sir, I just learn मतलब मैं अभी अभी इसमें इस पाथ में जा रही हूँ, तो इट्स गुड टू मी टू लर्न दिस टेक्नोलॉजी, मतलब MS SQL सर्वर, या स्टार्ट कहीं और से करना चाहिए, ये पूछना था। क्योंकि मुझे बेसिक, जो बेसिक SQL है क्वेरीज की, वो आती है। तो मतलब ये पढ़ना सही रहेगा, या इसके पहले और कुछ पढ़ना सही रहेगा, ये जानना था।
अंकिता, जैसे आपने कहा कि आपको अगर आईटी में कुछ भी आता तो थोड़ी सी बेसिक क्वेरी आती है ना, यही तो आपने कहा।
यस। हाँ हाँ।
तो जाहिर सी बात है, जो आता है उसी में ही आगे बढ़ना ही हमारे लिए सही रहेगा, बजाय कि न्यू चीज को हम अडॉप्ट करें, है ना। तो
यस।
बेटर रहेगा कि आपने स्टार्ट अगर जहाँ से किया है, आपने कुछ क्वेरीज जानती हैं, तो ये आपको हेल्प करेगा
हम्म।
समझने के लिए। तो इट्स गुड टू गो फॉर दिस कोर्स ऑल्सो फॉर दैट। एंड एज इफ यू आर कंपेयरिंग विद द अदर technology like programming and all, it is very
यस।
very easy to understand as compared to the programming actually.
और सर हम ये कोर्स कंप्लीट होने के बाद हमें कुछ रियल टाइम प्रोजेक्ट मिलेगा?
मैं पैरेलल में ही आपको असाइनमेंट दूंगा, पैरेलल में ही एक टास्क दूंगा, आपको उसको करना होगा, और वही आपकी हेल्प
ओके।
करेगा अंडरस्टैंड ऑफ ऑल कॉन्सेप्ट्स। डोंट वरी अबाउट।
और
ओके।
सर एक चीज जाननी थी।
हाँ।
अ,
ओके।
मतलब जो इंटरव्यू प्रिपरेशन जो होता है, वो आप लोगे, या मतलब कैसा रहेगा इसमें प्रिपरेशन, इंटरव्यू
नहीं,
प्रिपरेशन, प्लेसमेंट
आपको पैरेलल
प्रिपरेशन?
में प्रिपेयर कराऊंगा मैं। इवन लास्ट में हम इंटरव्यू सेशन भी रखेंगे, और
ओके, 1 to 1 ना?
हाँ, 1 to 1, जितने जितने भी जो भी हमारे टॉपिक डिस्कशन होंगे, हम उसमें कौन से
ओके।
इंटरव्यू क्वेश्चंस होते हैं वो हम आपको पहले से बताएंगे कि ये इस टॉपिक में ये इंटरव्यू क्वेश्चंस पूछा जा सकते हैं आपसे। जैसे सपोज
ओके।
मैंने कोई टॉपिक उठाया, उस टॉपिक को लेके हम आपको बता देंगे कि दीज क्वेश्चन
हम्म।
मे बी पुट इन फ्रंट ऑफ यू इन द इंटरव्यू सेशन।
ओके ओके,
ओके,
फाइन।
so don't worry about that. Rutuja, any question?
No, 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 Ashish.
Okay, okay. So I hope there is no any doubt. Okay, fine. Okay, guys, thank you so much. Nice to meet you guys.
Yeah,
Thank you,
thank you,
Ashish.
Ashish. Thank you, everyone.
Okay, okay,
Thank you.
thank you, thank you.